XLM holders, buckle up. This week could redefine everything. This is not a drill, not a hype cycle, not a false dawn built on thin tweets and recycled narratives. This week, the stars, literally and figuratively, are aligning for stellar XLM. And if you're holding, watching, or even remotely paying attention, understand this. You're standing on the edge of the most pivotal moment in Stellar's history. For years, Stellar has been the quiet builder. While others chased memes and headlines, it focused on real-world use, cross-border utility, and institutional-grade infrastructure. Now, that groundwork is meeting its moment. This isn't just about one announcement or a minor update. It's a convergence, a trifecta that could break the dam and flood XLM with relevance, volume, and velocity. Police car light 1. Institutional integration is closer than ever. The giants are circling. We're talking real-world players, banks, fintech platforms, asset managers. They're no longer testing the waters. They're warming up to dive in. And Stellar is not just a blockchain. It's a bridge. With regulatory-friendly positioning and a clear use case in payments and tokenization, XLM may soon become the rails institutional money runs on. Tier 2. Soroban is set to flip the script. Stellar's smart contract platform, Soroban, is nearing a major milestone. And when that switch flips, Stellar won't just be a payments protocol anymore. It becomes a fully programmable ecosystem. DeFi, NFTs, cross-chain bridges, real asset tokenization, all of it now possible, fast, scalable, and low-cost. Imagine Ethereum's functionality without Ethereum's fees. That's the bet Soroban is bringing to the table. Bar chart 3. The chart is whispering loudly. Zoom out and you'll see it. XLM is coiling. Long-term resistance zones? Pressured. Volume? Rising. Momentum indicators? Reset and surging. This isn't hopium. It's structure. The kind technical analysts wait months for. The kind that precedes parabolic moves. If the fundamentals agree. And this time, they do. Rocket what this means for you. If you've ever stared at your XLM bag and thought, why isn't the world seeing what I see? Get ready, the world might be about to open its eyes. You're not early anymore. You're perfectly timed, standing at the intersection of adoption, innovation, and narrative. Because this week, the institutional thesis meets product maturity. Soroban moves from testbed to foundation. The market structure moves from consolidation to potential ignition. So buckle up. This could be the moment XLM shifts from underdog to frontrunner, from forgotten altcoin to the blueprint of blockchain utility. The eyes of the industry are about to turn. And when they do, make sure you're not looking back wishing you'd paid attention. Let's break it all down. Institutional integration is closer than ever. For years, Stellar has been building quietly, deliberately. No loud promises, no hype-fueled distractions, just consistent progress and a razor-sharp focus on one thing, real-world utility. Now, the payoff is near. The institutions are no longer watching from the sidelines. They're circling, some are already in. And it's not theoretical anymore. Banks, fintech firms, and remittance giants have been testing and integrating Stellar under the radar, prepping for something far bigger than most realize. This is not a testnet phase. It's the beginning of mainstream institutional alignment. And here's what makes it different. Stellar isn't trying to be everything to everyone. It's focused, built to do one thing exceptionally well, move money quickly, cheaply, and compliantly across borders. While Ethereum is bogged down by gas fees, while Ripple is entangled in lawsuits, and while newer chains chase buzzwords with half-baked tech, Stellar has been laying the pipes for actual financial infrastructure, and doing it with surgical precision. XLM is no longer a speculative token. It's on the verge of becoming a core part of how the next generation of finance moves. Stablecoins? Already issuing on Stellar. Remittances? Live and scaling. CBDCs? Actively exploring the network. And with Soroban's launch, Stellar now adds smart contract capabilities, without sacrificing speed, cost efficiency, or reliability. All the pieces are clicking into place. This isn't about hype anymore. It's about inevitability. And when institutions start to flip the switch, They won't be looking for the flashiest tech. They'll go with what's tested, scalable, and regulatory ready. That's Stellar. That's XLM. And that's why this week, this moment matters more than ever. Soroban is not just a smart contract platform, it's Stellar's evolution. For years, critics labeled Stellar as just a payments network. Fast, efficient, but limited. A one-trick pony in a multi-chain world chasing DeFi, NFTs, and smart contract innovation. That changes now. Soroban isn't just Stellar's response to smart contracts. It's a calculated leap forward, not a fork, not an afterthought, not a rushed upgrade to keep up with market trends. It's a purpose-built engine that takes everything Stellar already does well and amplifies it into programmable, scalable, trustless logic. Here's what makes Soroban different. Built from the ground up in Rust, it's engineered for security and speed. WASM-based execution means lighter, more efficient operations compared to bloated, gas-heavy networks. Fee predictability and low execution costs bring smart contract logic back to earth. No surprise $80 gas fees here. Designed for developers with clean tooling, a testing suite, and seamless integration into existing Stellar workflows. But all of that is just code. What matters is momentum. Right now, Soroban is hitting a critical milestone. The launch cadence has moved past the experimental phase and into adoption territory. Projects are building, tools are shipping, the developer community is growing, not just crypto-native devs, but serious builders looking for reliability and scale. And as Soroban comes online fully, it unlocks new dynamics, lending protocols, decentralized identity systems, tokenized real-world assets, RWAs, custom remittance logic with built-in compliance triggers, DAO governance mechanisms for real-world financial collectives. This means Stellar isn't just moving money. It's programming financial rules directly into the network. Composability meets compliance. Speed meets sovereignty. And here's the kicker. Unlike most smart contract platforms that compete in crowded ecosystems, Stellar already has use cases, volume, and institutional trust baked in. Soroban doesn't need hype. It has infrastructure. It has intent. And now it has timing. With this launch milestone, Soroban becomes the gateway for Stellar to finally tap into the DeFi space on its own terms, faster, cheaper, and without losing the institutional grade design that made it a serious contender in the first place. So when people say, Stellar's getting smart contracts, they're missing the bigger point. It's not about catching up. It's about stepping into a new league and bringing years of real-world credibility with it. Soroban isn't the future of Stellar. It is Stellar's arrival into the future. Institutional integration plus Soroban milestone plus price structure equals a rare setup. Let's be clear, most tokens spike on speculation, but XRP is forming a rare confluence of fundamentals, development, and technical alignment, all at once. On the surface, three forces seem unrelated. Institutional integration, banks, remittance giants, and payment corridors already live on RippleNet and ODL. The Soroban smart contract milestone, a leap that upgrades the entire Stellar ecosystem, which Ripple stablecoin, will likely bridge with. Chart structure, a long-term setup showing strength, coil, and imminent breakout potential. But together, they're not noise, they're narrative convergence. Let's break it down. Institutional integration. Ripple isn't courting institutions, it's already embedded in global finance. Santander, SBI, Tranglo, Remitly, Asimo, the UAE, Africa, Asia, LATAM. The architecture is in place. Liquidity corridors are operational. And with Ripple stablecoin, the system gains composability, anchoring a reliable dollar-backed asset to XRP-led transactions. That's not theory. That's Rails plus value plus settlement. And guess what? Institutions don't need to speculate. They just need Rails that work instantly and are compliant. Ripple gives them that. Now layer in the Soroban milestone. As covered in Part 2, Soroban doesn't just bring smart contracts to Stellar. It brings them at scale with low-cost WSM execution and dev-grade infrastructure. It signals to the market that the Stellar ecosystem is now programmable, open for DeFi, DAOs, asset tokenization, lending logic, and real-world financial contracts. And Ripple launching Relust on both XRP Ledger and Stellar? That's not random, that's strategic. Ripple knows Soroban opens programmable potential that complements their institutional ambitions. What you're seeing is infrastructure aligning with intent. And finally, price structure. Here's where everything crystallizes. Zoom out. Look at XRP's multi-year consolidation. From the lawsuit suppression to the repeated resistance rejections. From the controlled accumulation patterns to the liquidity sweeps. It's not random. It's textbook suppression followed by absorption. Now the fundamentals are catching up. And when fundamentals and structure align, when smart money, development upgrades, and deep liquidity corridors start sinking, you don't get another pump. You get a shift. XRP is coiling beneath long-term resistance, not with hype, but with fuel. New smart contract capability from Soroban. A stablecoin, Relust, about to inject programmable liquidity. Institutional frameworks already live and compliant. That's the difference between a token that runs and a protocol that scales. And in markets like this, when all three align, it's not about if it moves. It's about how far it's allowed to go before the public even realizes it's happening. The setup is complete. All eyes on what comes next. You've seen the breadcrumbs for months, announcements, partnerships, developer grants, protocol upgrades. But now the scatter has stopped. The architecture is aligning. Every signal that used to feel isolated is now part of one massive, coherent structure. And that structure is pointing forward. Stellar's institutional march isn't marketing noise anymore. It's becoming a foundational movement. We're no longer talking about potential. We're talking about integration happening in real time, real enterprises, real infrastructure, real cross-border corridors beginning to hum quietly beneath the surface. These aren't the kind of partnerships you spin up overnight. These are the rails that underpin financial revolutions, and Stellar is positioning itself as the layer one of choice for compliant, scalable, enterprise-grade adoption. And then comes Soroban, not as a side upgrade, but as a full-blown evolution. This isn't just support for smart contracts. This is Stellar sharpening its edge to become a platform where developers can build fast, build safe, and build for scale. It bridges the gap between what TradFi institutions need and what crypto-native developers demand. With Soroban going live, Stellar isn't just a payments protocol. It becomes programmable money with teeth. Think composable finance, tokenized assets, real-time settlements, now with the flexibility of modern contract logic. But let's not ignore the third pillar, price structure. Technical analysts aren't imagining things. The chart is showing a clean three-point confluence that historically precedes major moves. Former resistance levels have flipped to strong support, a bullish retest pattern. Higher lows forming a clear ascending triangle, indicating aggressive accumulation. And volume is no longer flat. It's starting to surge, signaling buyers stepping in with conviction, not hesitation. This isn't just bullish. This textbook alignment, macro narrative, protocol upgrade, and price structure all snapping into place, not randomly but rhythmically. So no, this isn't about hype. This is about a chain that's been quietly building through the noise. A chain that refused to play the marketing game and chose instead to focus on groundwork. And now that groundwork is showing cracks of breakout momentum. You're not early anymore, you're right on time. And time is the one thing markets don't give back. History doesn't ring a bell. It moves in silence. By the time headlines catch up, the real move is already over. But right now, you're ahead of it. Stellar isn't just trending, it's transforming. Institutional traction is no longer theoretical. Soroban is shifting the foundation. And price structure? It's flashing signals that only those paying close attention will understand. This week isn't about noise. It's about signal. So ask yourself, when momentum, utility, and capital all converge, do you wait for confirmation or do you act before the crowd? Because moments like this don't repeat, they ripple. If you're holding XLM, now's the time to double down on your research, tighten your strategy, and tune out the distractions.